Good evening from yammybtv. Wishing you all well, sending plenty of love your way, and hoping your weekend is going the best it possibly can so far, and still might even get better as the day goes on before it gets to Monday tomorrow. The purpose of this video, once again, I will be bringing Paddy Conroy. You're asking me my opinion on certain things and how do I measure a man by my standards? What does it all mean? Like when you've been through experiences and situations of danger, of heartache, all those emotional things that you go through, and you come out the other end in some kind of way, right? What's the difference between people on the outside that haven't been to prison, that haven't experienced those other things that we talk about so freely on yammybtv, right? So we'll start with, right, measuring a man by my standards. It don't mean that what I'm about to say, because everybody's experiences is different, but I weighed up both. I've been out here quite a long time now, right? In prison, you still lose people. They would die. The chaplain would come to your door and tell you that someone's died. You still have to feel that pain. Love, loss, rejection, right? Those emotional and things you have to go through in prison, the normal hardworking people that ain't criminals on the outside, they would have gone through them things time and time again. Life's daily struggles. So what I open up by saying is that the hurt that they get from experiencing these lifetime struggles and ultimately the things that you have to face the longer you live as a human being in this world, they've experienced them things already. So I always believe that once you've experienced certain things over and over again, whatever fashion, you get used to the feeling. It doesn't shock you as much as it did the first time that it happened. Also, when you're living the shit gangster's life, or so-called gangsters like gangland and all that, as well as those four emotions I just spoke about there now, you also have to go in the jungle, adversity. You have to do that on the outside, whether you're a criminal or not, by facing these situations that could make or break you. Because it can be, as human beings, we can all become frail, vulnerable, insecure, and it could drive us into the ground if we let it, right? And we know through certain, a lot of people's experience, including mine, since I've been out while I was in there, it can lead you to go to do things that make your situation even worse. What I'm saying is, in the jungle, with the adversity, facing gangland figures that you got war with, when the door opens, you always got to be on point. You can't live in peace when you're a normal location in them places. You cannot live in peace if you've done murders, you're involved in gangland, because you know that when you lie on your bed, there's a chance that it could come back to haunt you, right? So you can't live in peace in prison when you've done bad things, even if you wasn't a gangster or gangland figure, but you murdered somebody's mum or sister or your girl or whatever. You never know what the family could do. So there's always going to be a fear of something in some kind of way, if you get what I mean. So the jungle rules in there are slightly different to the outside. This is what I point out, that you think that fear factor every day, you get used to it. Danger, you're thinking, why? I only got this choice and that choice and that choice. Because you've seen the worst of how fearful and dangerous you could lose your life, they could lose theirs. You know what I mean? Ultimately, everything's on the line in there because you're mixing with everybody that's the same way as we was, right? The difference is, for those that wasn't criminals on the outside but had to go through those emotional, the normal things that human beings are going to have to suffer in the lifetime that we live, is that they never went through all that in there. Not that they should have, because the fear factor, the danger situations is created by the way our lifestyles were. So not saying they do it, but if they did try to go in there on the first occasion and see everybody getting killed and stabbed in front of them, hot water boiling over there, a gun, someone being, it's always going to be shocking. But when you've seen it with your own eyes already, you're going to say, yeah, I know, but boy, it's sad. But that's the way it can go. And when I first saw those things, I thought, really horrid. Oh my God. But the more that I saw it, the more that I thought, oh God, it's just another day's work. This is just what I'm used to. It ain't really that. I feel short on when people are dying around me outside, because I never had the bonding in the past, right? So Trace of Face, Shax, my brother and all that, to suffer those kind of things that some of you had to suffer along the way out here, I understand fully what it means. It would have affected me a little bit more. You lot have been through, loads of deaths and funerals and that kind of stuff. But remember, when it faced me, it was too new. I was thinking, fucking, this hurts more than all that. It hurts more than all that. Why I had to suffer in jail? I'm thinking, why are you heartbroken? You weren't heartbroken through all that danger and all that madness you went through in there, because you're not used to it. That's what I was saying now. I measure a man. Right? You lot measure men, and ladies different. You'll be saying, yeah, but I measure a man by my dad going to work and going to provide meals on the table, and I measure it on his strength of character. I'm dealing with his emotional issues every day and doing the morally correct thing, whether he wants to or he doesn't. He just does it that way because he believes that those are the fundamental ways that we were taught how to deal with it. Real men, you know, your women, you don't hit them. You know, in your private family, you know when she's screaming and all that. You know what it all means by now. The real men, they are the real men and women, the ones that don't have to resort to doing bad things. That's definitely fact. But when measuring with Paddy Conroy, I say, no, because I don't want the video to go on too long. The reason why I say, I don't care about Paddy Conroy. I'm not on nobody's side. I've told you this already. You asked me what I thought, right? I put them lot aside from that video I done the other day, right? What I say is I measure a man by this. Paddy Conroy has been a criminal. He's been in the underworld and gangland since he was born, right? In jail, he was in a mix every day. He has to plot, plan, deceit, conspiracy. He has to do all those things. Then he knows ultimately he's lived long enough, more than some of you have already. Listen carefully. He's lived long enough more than you have. He's reached the grand old age there, so there must have been something. I say because of the experiences of living that life around the scum of the earth, you know, like the ones where all the plotting and planning, the mix up and all that. Paddy Conroy would be laughing on his bed late at night, laughing. He's used to it. He's used to all that. In prison, he turned up everywhere, mate. He turned up everywhere. Paddy Conroy never run nowhere. I got a couple of stories, but I ain't got no permission to come up here and go and talk no stories. You ask me my reasoning behind measuring men. And I say that some of you ain't really lived anything, or you ain't told no one your life story, and where you have had to face adversity in the face of possible defeat, and how did you come out of it and how you survived. And I'm not saying you have to be a criminal to do that, right? But your experiences then will be different from a man like Paddy Conroy, right? And many others that we talk about on yammybtv. Ultimately, Paddy's been in the mix for years and years like me. Those things of plotting and planning, moving that bit that way and that way, he'll be able to find those answers. It's not all about people saying, yeah, but he's getting old. And don't worry, everybody, you got to get old too one day. I'm getting old. I'm just telling you, by facing all the things that they've faced already, they're used to it. I'm used to it. So the mix there, that's made for him that way. That's what I'm trying to say to you lot, right? You lot, some of you, I'm not going to call no names, you lot are up there, you do, but like I said, I'm not on nobody's side, but you haven't really proven, you haven't been proven and tested with every single emotion, especially when there's no way out of things in the jungle, where it's life or death, and nobody really cares what you was or what you wasn't, that you got to face the music every day. Paddy Conroy did that in prison as well. You've got to remember that. It doesn't matter whether Lee Duffy might win a physical fight. That's not the physical fight ain't always the way. That's not always the one that wins. You know what I mean? It's the old dog and the wily old foxes. He can't have reached that age and been through everything he's been through with all that stuff there, and he still seems to be, you know, boxing around. I can answer that categorically today. I give him that bit there because I know what it feels like, right? So yeah, you know, you don't have to be a criminal to go through things, right? I'm not saying that. Adversity, yeah, man, you came back from the dead, you know, the injuries, accidents and all that. I get all of that. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Otherwise, your life stories, everybody's life story is important. What I need to do is hear from some of you. What was your life story? What was the things you had to face? We don't really know a lot about some of you lot, really, in reality. Give us that, some of your fighters and all that. Yeah, we get all that. But we want to know your experiences so that it can be passed on to other people, how you dealt with it, how you had to duck and dive, the real feelings when you're down and you're weak and vulnerable. How did you find a way out of that? Then don't think there's ever going to be times when you're not going to have downtime, all right? So I don't want to drag on too long. I answer that categorically. The longer you live in that pit of all that, for all the more experience that you're going to have seen certain things all before. Other people come up with certain questions and answers and all that. I've heard that one before, right? I know how to deal with that one. Things like that you get used to. If you get your eyes, because your eyes are too used to certain situations, and other people's aren't, and they think they're being clever when they're really not. Going live after. Loads of love to you all.